Welcome to Obstacle Blaster with Jim Atkins. Personal, interpersonal, professional. Blast through life's obstacles toward a better life. Today, a life lesson from the 6th grade. Let's get started.
I was 12 years old. It was springtime and the school year was winding down. I remember the day very clearly and the moment in the particular day that I've got in mind. We were back from the afternoon recess and no one in the noisy classroom seemed to be in math mode. It was sunny and warm out, which made us all even more ready for summer vacation to start. But here we all were in the last class of the day, math with Mr. Zech. Looking back, I would characterize Mr. Zech as being gruff and blunt, although at the time, in my 6th grade vocabulary, I would have just said that he's mean. I know better now that most people are more complex than that, but the memory that I'm sharing comes from my vantage point as a preteen. Mr. Zech being one thing in my mind, mean, is one of the main things that made this experience so poignant. So anyway, the class had already started when this particular event happened. Because of our spring fever, Mr. Zech needed to call the class to order with more volume in his "settle down, people" voice than usual. And that's when the intercom beeped. Mr. Zech was on and off the receiver inside of 5 seconds, announcing to 25 boisterous 6th grade students they had to go to the office for a moment and to please don't burn the school down in the time that I'm gone. Well, we didn't burn the school down, but we didn't remain quiet either. We were stir crazy. Left to our own devices, we laughed and chattered and threw things, and then Mr. Zech was back just like that. Re-entering the classroom, he was pale and distracted, and he kept moving, gathering up his car keys and his lunch sack and heading back for the door again. He didn't seem to care that we were out of control. Without looking at anyone, he made his announcement, literally while he was rushing out the door. He said, "My mother just died, I've got to go." As you might imagine, the remainder of the hour was quiet. We didn't need a chaperone. We just sat there looking at each other, or not looking at each other. There are epical moments in a person's life when they realize things that had never occurred to them before. And this was one such moment for me. I thought things like, Mr. Zech's mom just died. Whoa, Mr. Zech had a mom. Mr. Zech didn't raise his voice at us like he usually does when we get loud. Whoa, there are things more important to Mr. Zech than controlling a bunch of kids. Mr. Zech displayed real, genuine human emotion before he rushed out the room. Whoa, Mr. Zech is a real person. Mr. Zech just left. Whoa, he has a life outside of here. Seriously, those are the kinds of things that raced through my mind, especially the thoughts that had to do with Mr. Zech being a real person and having a family and life of his own outside of the 6th grade and outside of being a 6th grade math teacher. That was a big deal to me. They were made even more real to me a few days later. And that's when we enter into the picture, this story, my sweet, thoughtful mother. It was one morning before school, a day or two after Mr. Zech had lost his mother. I was eating breakfast. My mom plopped a greeting card and a pen in front of me. It had flowers on it, on the front of it, with the words, "In your time of loss." She told me, "You need to sign this." I put up a weak protest. Why? I didn't really know Mr. Zech. He wasn't my primary teacher. I only had him for math. And the card had flowers on it. Boys don't touch things with flowers on it. Well, of course, I signed the card. I discreetly carried it with me to school, and I discreetly placed the card on Mr. Zech's desk as soon as I got to school, and then I hurried off to my own classroom. Well, Mr. Zech wasn't back for a few days until after the funeral, and I think that a weekend had passed. At any rate, I had long forgotten about the signed bereavement card that I left on his desk. Well, I'll never forget the day that he was back at school. The school day hadn't yet started, but it was about to when Mr. Zech came to Mr. Rickmeyer's classroom and asked to speak with me in the hall. Now, having forgotten about the card, I had certainly also long forgotten about the momentous realizations that had occurred to me less than a week before when Mr. Zech was given the terrible news about his mother. Naturally, I thought I was in trouble. Yes, I was the kind of kid who got into more than my fair share of trouble. So I thought I was safe in assuming that I must have done something wrong and that me and Mr. Zech had come to confront me about something. Maybe somebody had told him something. I don't know. But When the door closed behind us, we were alone in the hall. He put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "I want to thank you for the card. You really meant a lot to me. It was very thoughtful of you. Thank you." Well, there was kind of an awkward pause. My heart was racing. First I thought I was in trouble. Now I'm not in trouble. The relief. But what card is he talking about? Oh, the card my mom made me sign. Yes. I sheepishly looked at Mr. Zech, then at the floor, and I told him he was welcome. Well, things changed for me after that experience. I've made many mistakes in the decades since, and I'm certain that I'm going to make many more, but that simple act of consideration on the part of my mom made me more aware of the humanity of the people around me. A card my mother told me to sign and give to a gruff, grieving teacher may have been the best gift my mom ever gave me. Folks, people are real people. They aren't objects. Even those who don't seem like their hearts can be broken, their hearts can be broken, and they most certainly have been. They have lives, they have families, they have secrets that make them smile and that make them cry. They, and when I say they, I'm talking about every human being on this planet, love others and want to be loved and accepted by others. My mom had a severe stroke 4 years ago. She peacefully passed away some months later. It was one of my life's greatest privileges to stand and share some thoughts with the many who were gathered for her memorial service. And the thing that I chose to focus on was Mom's consideration toward others and her thoughtfulness, specifically her wonderful habit of expressing herself in writing. She sent sweet notes to friends, she sent cards to those who needed some uplift, and she always put her thanks in written form, sending it to the deserving party. As I spoke about these things, heads were nodding in agreement. Mom's kindness and selflessness had touched everyone she knew. She treated everyone like they were someone. And you know what? She was right. Everyone is. So before you choose to get angry the next time someone cuts you off in traffic, choose not to turn that person into an object. There's a real person behind the wheel of that car. Choose to extend to them the same level of grace that you'd like to have extended to you the next time you accidentally cut someone off in traffic. Before you decide to label someone mean or unworthy of forgiveness or weird or stupid or not very funny or not worthy of friendship or kindness or consideration, please remember Mr. Zech. And please remember my mom. We're not in the 6th grade anymore, folks. Mr. Zech's mom is gone. My mom is gone. Let's remember the lessons they left us. Well, folks, I shared these thoughts a couple of years ago on my blog, and about 3 days after I posted the article, the following comment was posted by a reader. Jim, it's been 32 years since you and I were at Northwood Elementary. I remember the memory that you so clearly described over the years. And I've learned that what you say and what you do can greatly influence a person. The kicker is that most times you have no idea that you've influenced anyone. Have a great day, Mr. Zech. And you folks have a great day too. We'll see you soon.